Welcome to Project U 2.2, the podcast where life and leadership meet endurance. I'm Greg Helmer, joined by my wife and partner in life and work, Carrie. Each week, we dive deep into the mindset, the neuroscience, and the real grit it takes to stop drifting and start living with clarity, confidence, and endurance. This is about real life, real struggles, and real growth. So lace up, it's time to live with endurance. If you listened to Carrie's episode this week, you probably felt the weight of it. Not in a dramatic way, but in a real human way. Because loss doesn't just hurt emotionally. Loss affects the mind, it shows up in the body, and it shakes the spirit. Today, I want to offer a perspective, not just to fix grief, not to rush healing, but to help you understand what's happening inside you when love is lost. Whether that loss came from through a breakup, a divorce, or the death of a partner or loved one. Loss doesn't just take someone from your life, it takes a version of you with it. From a neuroscience standpoint, your brain doesn't grieve people the way we think it does. It grieves patterns, routines, shared rhythms. You see, the nervous system regulation that came from another person's presence. That's why loss feels disorienting. Your body is searching for something that no longer exists. And that doesn't mean that you are weak. It means that you are human. Breakups hit especially hard in life because identity is still forming. Your brain hasn't yet learned how to separate who you are from who you are with. So when that relationship ends, it feels like your future collapses. Not because it was guaranteed, but because it was imagined. And divorce, it brings a different kind of loss. Divorce is grief with logistics, grief with paperwork, grief with parenting schedules, finances, homes, and shared life history. And whether you want it or not, divorce forces a reckoning. Not just who am I without this person, but who am I now? And then there's the loss no one prepares you for. The death of a spouse or a partner or a loved one. This is the grief that doesn't negotiate. It doesn't offer closure. It doesn't ask if you are ready. It removes someone from your life and leaves your nervous system trying to survive the absence. Here's something I want to say gently but clearly. Grief is not something you get over. It's something that you carry forward differently. And this is where faith matters. Not as an answer, but I believe as an anchor. And for me, belief in God doesn't erase pain. It doesn't rush sorrow. Faith doesn't demand strength you don't have. Faith reminds me that pain is not pointless, and that suffering does not mean abandonment. Scripture does say, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Not the strong, not the polished, the brokenhearted. And that matters because when loss hits, your spirit often hurts before your thoughts catch up. And knowing that God draws closer in suffering, not farther away, changes how we endure. Endurance doesn't mean pushing through the grief. It means allowing yourself to be supported mentally, physically, and spiritually while you heal. From a body standpoint, movement does matter. Not for fitness, but for regulation. Walking, breathing, oxygen, being outdoors, doing something physical that reminds your body, I'm still here, I'm still alive. From a mind standpoint, connection matters. Isolation is the most dangerous response to loss, not because solitude is bad, but because prolonged isolation tells your nervous system you are unsafe and alone. Healing doesn't require constant talking, but it does require presence. Someone who can sit with you without fixing, someone who doesn't rush your timeline. And from a spirit standpoint, permission matters. The permission to grieve, permission to pray or to sit silently, permission to question, permission to rest. Grief isn't a weakness. It's evidence that you love deeply. And loving deeply is never a failure. You can miss someone and still move forward. You can grieve and still grow. You can hurt and still rebuild a life that expands you. Those things can live in the same body. If you're listening today and you feel behind, perhaps hollow, or unsure of who you are now, please hear this. You are in a chapter that requires a different kind of strength. And strength doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like staying present. Sometimes it looks like asking for help. And sometimes it looks like surviving one ordinary day at a time. Loss is not the end of your story. It is the hardest chapter, yes, but it is not the final one. This has been Project U 2.2, where we don't quit, we don't coast, and we don't surrender. If today helped, share it with someone who feels capable, but perhaps quietly stuck, perhaps grieving. And every Wednesday at 6:22 a.m., Carrie brings the heartbeat of this work, mindset, growth, and the next brave step. Until next time, stay strong, stay real, and keep living with endurance. See you at 6:22.